Hey everybody, Colorado Hitman here, and on tonight's fucking show, on this episode of Storytime with Beans, episode 4, we have a special guest appearance all the way from Denver, Colorado. I'd like to introduce y'all to the big homie No Love. You can check out his channel at YouTube / The Grim Reefer, not Reaper, Reefer. I'll put a link into his channel in the description below. I do apologize. It has been a very long day. Right on for being on the show tonight.
No problem, man.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you
coming.
for having me.
Oh yeah, man, no problem, man. I thought that was really cool that you hit me up and came all the way down to Denver, down to fucking Pueblo and shit, just to be on the show real quick. Y'all got to check out his shit. He's a blogger. He's also a fucking game fanatic. So make sure you guys show him some love, because he came all the way down here just to fucking be filmed on this shit. So let's show this guy a little bit of respect, okay? So with that said, on tonight's episode of Storytime with Beans, episode 4, we're going to be talking about the one thing that nobody fucking really talks about unless they're fucking drunk, or more or less it gets brought up out of the stupidest fucking reasons. And to be honest with you, earlier, me and No Love, I was showing him around Pueblo, and there was one area in particular. He was curious about the Arkansas River. He was like, man, that looks pretty cool. And I took him down there, and lo and behold, that's when something popped in my head from many, many years ago, about an incident that happened on the Arkansas River Trail here in Pueblo, between Pueblo Boulevard and Dutch Clark Stadium. So for those of you who kind of know the general area, then you're going to know what I'm talking about. So as I was telling him earlier, I like to share this with y'all. For those of you who don't know what the Wendigo is, the Wendigo is, from what I understand, a Native American / demon that it's just fucked up, guys. You're going to have to look it up. It's really hard to explain, and getting into this story, especially when we were out there, there was a lot of weird shit that was happening, like
Definitely.
we were hearing things, and I quit talking about it, and I told No Love, I says, we'll talk about it on tonight's episode, and let's just get the hell out of there. So here's the story. So this happened back in 2006, and we were all young, we were all dumb and shit. We're still in high school, and me and a group of my friends decided to go down to the city park here in Pueblo off of Pueblo Boulevard. And there's this little incline that you got to walk down to. I was showing him earlier. And on the river trail, there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of brush. And this happened around 2 a.m. And I can't remember what month it was. I know it was wintertime, because there was snow all over the place. And me and a group of my buddies, what we decided to do was, we decided, okay, cool, well, let's just go out there. We heard this story about this, this Wendigo. And, it's a possessed human with the head of a stag, and it smells like death. I don't even know how to describe it, but what we saw that night was pretty fucking intense, man. And, well, anywho, so we go down to the river trail, and we're like, hey, let's just go keep walking. And around that time, I just purchased my first firearm. And I was so excited because, I was young, I was dumb, and I thought I was gangster. I landed up buying an AK-47, and I had 230-round magazines.
Great weapon.
Damn straight it is. You can't go wrong with that 7.62 39. And I landed up buying a 75-round drum. So that night I took the 75-round drum. And, I have my AK. And to be honest with you, man, I'm kind of glad that I did bring it that night. So we started to walk down the trail, and we were kind of going east on the trail towards downtown. And something caught one of my friends' eye, and he said, hey, stop, stop, stop. And as we did, there was these footprints that were in the snow. Now, they were humanoid. like they were barefoot in the fucking snow. And then all of a sudden, these footprints started to change. They went from being like some sort of like animal footprint. And how to describe it is like, it was kind of, it was three-toed. And you could see it changing in the snow. And then we discovered blood in the snow. And we're just like, what the fuck is this? And no sooner than I fucking said that, I was like, is that blood? And they're like, yeah, that's fucking blood. Something let out a fucking screech, dude, that was kind of, it sounded like this in a way. I'm going to do my best to kind of recreate that sound. And it was so high pitched and it was so deep at the same time, dude, it sent chills up my spine. It sounded like, something like that. And we're like, what the fuck was that? And that's when I cocked back my AK, and we heard it again. And then it went from being in front of us to now it seemed like it was on the other side of the fucking river. Okay, and where we were at, there's this old train bridge, and this train bridge is just it doesn't look like anybody's used it in years. It's just right there, and then all of a sudden we heard something in the trees. It's like something jumped into the fucking trees. And then my buddy, he had a really powerful light. It was a real powerful spotlight. It was I remember it was 900 looms, and he shined it up into the fucking tree, bro. And right then and there, that's when we fucking saw what we heard. It literally looked like something that came straight out of fucking hell. And it was looking at us, and you could see when it was breathing, it had this deep, like steam cloud of fucking hot air coming out. And it was the skull of a stag. There was no fucking eyes. And
like something out of a horror movie.
Yeah, man. It literally looked like something you'd watch off The Walking Dead. You know what I mean? Like when a walker is hanging and its guts are all just deployed out, they're just hanging there. And we all fucking froze. That was the first time ever that I can say that I could not believe what I was fucking seeing. I could not believe this is fucking happening and what's gonna happen fucking next. So we're all in fear, just freezing. It was horrible, man. Like I was like, all right, everybody starts taking a step back. So we started to take a step back, and then the breathing started to get deeper. You could see it as the light is on this thing. And then that's when it dropped down from the tree and it hit the ground. You can hear the thud. It was like a swoosh, just. And then it stood up, and that's when we realized this thing is a lot bigger than what it looks like inside it, when it was in the tree. I'd have to say this thing was about 7 feet tall. And
wow,
its arm length was literally twice the size of mine. It was just, we could not believe what we were fucking seeing. And then right after that, that's when I pointed the gun at it. Okay? And I said, if this is a fucking joke, if you're playing fucking games, I will open fire on you. This is a real fucking gun. And then my buddies were like, just shoot it. I says, I don't know if that's a real person playing a fucking joke or not. And then all of a sudden, it started to walk right across the fucking river. And then that's when I opened fire. Just boom, boom, boom. And I hit it, and it let out a fucking screech from hell. No person who was dressed up trying to scare fucking people is gonna fucking take a bullet to the leg, okay? Because I hit it between its hip and leg on its left side. And you heard the fucking screech, and then all of a sudden it started to just come at us. And then that's when I dumped it. I was just all boom, 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 boom. Go, guys, go, run. Boom, 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 boom. And that's when I fucking ran, and it just kept screeching. I never turned back after that.
Oh, I wouldn't.
And it was me. It was me and my buddy Rick at the time. And Rick had a gun too. Rick kept turning back saying, it's right behind us. It's right behind us. I never looked back. I just kept going, and Rick was firing and firing. And finally he ran out of fucking bullets. When we got up the fucking hill, that's when... Dude, that's when you realize this was a life or death situation. Because the moment we got up the hill, Now, mind you, when we're coming down there was just snow. You know, the concrete was kind of moist. Everything surrounding, there was snow around. But the moment we tried to get up there, every single person that tried to go up that fucking hill was sliding. We could not get up the fucking hill. And then that's when it let out a fucking roar. Okay? And we couldn't see anything. It let out a fucking roar so loud that there's this house at the bottom of the hill where these people literally turned on their lights and said, "What the fuck is going on?" And we said, "There's something out here. We can't get up the fucking hill." And the guy goes back in. He comes out with this fucking high-powered rifle. And he goes, "You kids get out of here now. I got this." And we started to go up the side of the mountain. We're all fucking, we're just climbing, dude. And we finally get up to the top of the hill. And then that's when that dude let off a shot. And it was so fucking loud, dude. It made my AK fucking, it sounded like a 22. I'll just put you that way.
Wow.
It made my fucking gun sound like a 22. That's how loud that shit was. So loud that when the sound hit us, it didn't hurt just our ears, but you could feel it. You could feel it in your chest. Force. Yeah, just like, what the fuck was that? And then we all get into the car and we start driving away. And we took off that night. And we landed up all meeting at this car wash off of Pueblo Boulevard next to the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's next to this gas station called the Alta. And we're like, "Are you guys okay? What the hell was, what the fuck was that?" And I landed up calling my brother and I told him what happened. And that's when he's just like, "Come and get me." And we described it to him. Once we got there, we described what we saw, what it looked like. And that's when he looked at me with this fucking scared look in his face, dude. And he goes, "I think you just encountered the Wendigo." And I was like, "What the fuck is that? Is that like on our side?" I was trying to be like a smart ass about it. And he smacks me upside the back of my head. He goes, "Don't fucking play games. What did it look like again?" And we described it again. He goes, "Did it smell like this?" And we're like, "Yeah, it smelled just like that." And it went through the water like it was walking through the fucking water like nothing, dude. And that current is strong. It's wintertime, like it didn't even phase it. "Did you shoot it?" I says, "Yeah, dude, I must have hit it multiple fucking times." He goes, "And it didn't go down." "No." What was it doing? "It started to chase us." I never looked back. And I was telling him about what Rick was doing. So he tells us to come inside of the house. We all get out of the car, go into his house, and he starts blessing us with sage. Mm-hmm. And he starts chanting. And I was like, "What was that?" He goes, "I just warded off any evil spirits or anything that has latched onto you, because if it's the Wendigo, it's going to come after you. It will kill you. Trust me on this." And, I was kind of superstitious at the time. I was just like, for real? What if this was just, I mean, come on. Dude, back then when weed was illegal, yeah, you didn't know what the fuck you were smoking. We were all, smoking a blunt. But how do you explain, okay? And I'll put this to you this way. How do you explain 8 people who were there that night, okay? 7 out of the 8 people smoked weed, including me. And the one person who didn't smoke weed was Rick, and he heard the fucking scream. Mm. He heard the fucking scream. He saw what I saw. We all saw it. Mm-hmm. And that's when he said, "Everybody go home right now." And to put salt, and he told us his whole instructions, but he told me and Rick to stay because since we were the ones that fired on it, it's going to come after us. So we were just like, "Okay, cool. So what do you think we should do?" And he asked me how many bullets I had left. And I says, "Dude, I have about 500-600 of them." And he goes, "Okay, well, let's go to your house." So we go to my house. And I take all the bullets out of the 230 round mags. I take the remainder of the bullets out of the drum. I reload the drum. I reload the mags. But before I did that, what Esau did was he went over the bullets that we were going to use with sage, and he was blessing it. And then every single bullet he dipped into holy water from this church in New Mexico called the Santuario. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he was dipping each and every single bullet tip into the holy water. And then he goes, "Okay, load it." And then we loaded it up. And then he goes, "All right, this is a life or death situation. We need to go back." Well, we landed up going back. Same spot. We were all fucking locked and loaded that night. Rick was locked and loaded. E was locked and loaded. I was locked and loaded. Between us three, we probably had about 500 rounds. Okay. And he used to have this real sick M4. And that motherfucker had drums. And I remember him, every single fucking bullet, he was blessing and dipping in there. I was like, why do we do that? It was because it's a fucking demon. It's not of this earth. It's not of this realm. We need to fight fire with fire. All we're doing is throwing metal at it. We're wounding it. How do we know that it didn't do anything? We need to literally fucking kill this thing. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's go. We go back to the fucking trail. And that guy is still out there. And he's on his porch. That's when we walk up. We started to talk to the guy. And his face was just blank. Didn't say a fucking word. This is how he was sitting, okay? He was sitting like this, but his eyes were down, just like how I'm doing, you know what I mean? And he's holding his rifle, and you can see his right hand, it's shaking a little bit. And we're like, sir, you know, is everything okay? And then that's my brother's like, I think it got to him. What do you mean? He saw it, or I don't know what I said. Yeah, but he fired a shot. He goes, that doesn't fucking matter. He's showing like he's a possessed dude. Let's leave him alone. So I thought, like, I was like, oh, it's just a bunch of fucking hogwash. All right, well, let's go. We started walking down to the fucking area. There's the footprints, and then you could fucking clearly see that whatever was in the water came out, but it wasn't taking footsteps like, you know, when somebody's power walking. That length of there's a footstep here, there's a footstep here. These footsteps were literally anywhere between 9 and 11 feet apart. Like it was running after us. Then we saw blood. But here's the weirdest shit. The weirdest fucking shit. All of a sudden the tracks stopped. They stopped out of nowhere. There was nothing around. But the weirdest shit that we saw was there was 3 of my AK bullets, the 308 rounds from the 7.62 39, and then my buddy's 40 cal on the ground. How do you explain that? The footprints just stop out of nowhere, and then there's the bullets. Yeah, we found the shells. We did. We found the shells. We didn't find all of them, but the actual where the footprints stopped in the ground on the snow, there was the bullets right there, and we noticed them perfectly. And then I went to go grab one, and that's when he grabbed my arm and he goes, "Don't. It could be a trap." And then that, right as he said that, we looked up and the weirdest fucking shit happened, dude. The weirdest fucking shit happened. We looked up and there was a man. And he was in the tree. And he was looking at us. So I don't even know how to explain this anymore, because this is where it's going to, really freak you out is once we shine the light by his face, we realized something. We realized right then and there that whatever that thing was, we believe that was him. Because he's covered in blood. He had no visible wounds. His mouth was pouring, dishing out blood. His ears had blood. Outside of his eyes, by his nose, there was blood. His fingertips were all bleeding. We're like, what the fuck? So we get on the phone, and we're like, look, man, we need to get this dude some kind of medical attention, because, we need to talk. We need to tell the police. So, anywho, we call the police. They come up. They pull him out of the fucking tree. We told them what we saw, what we heard, and we were concerned about this fucking neighbor over here. Cops went over there. They tried to talk to him. That dude actually was going through a seizure when they came up to him, and he said that he doesn't remember coming outside or having his rifle or even firing off a shot.
Wow.
Well, they took the man. They took him into the hospital, and 2 days later, we read in the paper that a man that was found by the Arkansas River Trail that was in a tree, that he was covered in blood. He was partially clothed, disappeared from the hospital. They never had his name. They never knew nothing about him. He was there for maybe a little bit over 24 hours. And then when the nurses came in to look, he was gone. So with that said, people, that's my story about my encounter with the Wendigo at the Arkansas River. We're going to get into another story that happened over at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, to where I truly feel that that wasn't the only time I encountered the Wendigo here in Colorado. And also, I have another story for y'all that consists of, and you can be the judge, but I have a story to where I think I had an encounter with Bigfoot of all fucking places over at Helen Falls, over towards Manitou Springs. But we'll get to that another day. So, with that said, no love, it was nice to have you on the show. It really was. Check out his channel, The Grim Reaper. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below. You guys check him out.
Before you end off, I want to say one thing.
All right, say it, brother.
Demons are very real. Don't be naive, people. They're real. They exist.
And for those of you who are wondering why he's wearing a bandana, is because he's the type of person that I used to be. He just goes about his life. He doesn't want to be acknowledged for the things that he does. So let's respect this man's wishes. He will be in other videos that we're going to be filming ongoing. He's going to be down here in Pueblo for the weekend. So he's going to be staying with yours truly, the Colorado Hitman. And we're going to bring you more and more fucking crazy ass shit. He's got some things that he wants to talk about, incidents that happened over at what's it called, Old Gold Camp Road. That was one of them.
Oh, man.
You were telling me about the story about Courtner Road when you were down here in Pueblo doing some ghost hunting. We're going to get into that because I also have experiences with that too. So with that said, like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, look forward to the Grim Reaper. Check his shit out. So with that said, y'all have a good one.
Later.